Welcome to the show, everybody. Got an exciting one here for you. We are talking about the top 10 fantasy football sleepers for 2022. I'm super excited to dive into this list I've got for you. They are the 10 sleepers, rookies included, that really jump out at me that I look at and say, hey, these guys are immense value. They're great value in fantasy football drafts, and they've got massive ceiling. They're going to be super solid for you, super secure. And again, the main thing here is value, and the mainstream consensus are sleeping on. And that's what I want to get across to you guys, is that when I am looking at running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, or any position for that matter, I try to look at the depth chart. I aim high on the depth chart, and I take a look and say, hey, you know what? There's an opportunity for this person to really thrive based on volume, opportunity, and talent, and all that exciting stuff. So I'm excited to dive into the top 10 list. Again, there's so many sleepers. There's a ton of sleepers, guys. And I get right into that, guys, in details in the 16-round draft solution. Get it below here on YouTube and use code TUBE20 to save yourself 20%. So you can either just Google it. Now, if you're in the car, you could just simply Google it. Just Google 16-round draft solution. You can find it there. On YouTube, I've linked it below. Again, use code TUBE20. Now, a lot of people ask you, what is the 16-round draft solution, guys? It's a video training of me actually going over all the optimal players to draft in each round, omitting all the terrible ones, giving you sleepers, breakouts, everything you need, guys. And I go over several mock drafts, walking you through how I would draft a team to help you guys crush your leagues. This formula works. It's as close to as bulletproof as possible. Get 16 rounds, guys. It's a game changer. Use code TUBE20 if you're in the car or here on YouTube. I'm telling you guys, you'll be very, very happy with your roster. You'll be light years ahead of the competition, guys. It's not even going to be close because they're basically drafting on consensus ADP. And to put it in perspective, guys, last year, everybody had Ayuk ahead of Deebo Samuel, except for me, because you guys were drafting Deebo Samuel. Everybody had Robert Woods ahead of Cooper Kupp, except for 16 rounders who got Cooper Kupp in and around round 3 and 4, and I omitted Woods because Woods was coming off earlier, distracting people. I was like, nope, go robust RB, get yourself Cooper Kupp later. Najee Harris outside the top 10 in all rankings last year. Now they're riding Najee Harris. And those are just 3 quick examples for you guys how 16 rounds is a game changer, because I spot those things for you guys so you don't have to waste your time stuck in situations or drafting players that are irrelevant. Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook last year, completely busted, guys, okay? And they're ranked ahead of Najee Harris, right? I told you, Najee Harris, volume, opportunity, talent, youth. All this is in 16 rounds. Get it, use code TUBE20. Let's dive into this, guys. Now, if you're new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe. I know a lot of people click on this, watch the video, but haven't subscribed. Click that subscribe button and comment below. Which sleeper do you like? I want to make this super interactive with you guys, all right? So below, comment, which sleeper do you guys like? Want to hear it below. If you like my list, let me know. If there's a guy that pops out there and you're like, man, I really like that sleeper, Joe, or one that you guys want to dive in. And again, there's a ton of sleepers. One guy, for example, I left out. Here's a bonus for you. Is David Montgomery coming off in the 3rd round. Nagy's gone. Great opportunity. And he's going to thrive this year. And he's coming off the 3rd round. Okay. Behind guys like DeAndre Swift, which is absolutely ludicrous. And Nick Chubb, who's in a committee with Kareem Hunt. Absolutely crazy. And I had behind Dalvin Cook, who is going to miss time, and he always does. So again, I just think he's a great value, and I gave you a bonus one right there. So there is a lot, guys, I'm leaving out, but I'm telling you guys, this is going to really, really wake you up, and you're like, oh my God, that is a good value, and you're going to see a lot of good value here with these 10 sleepers, and these were the ones that jumped out at me. Let's jump into the first sleeper here for you. Now, I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I don't care because I absolutely love it, and I'm going to explain why I love Saquon Barkley, guys, for fantasy football 2022. I'm going to dive into that. Now, offensive coordinator years ago, he used to work as an offensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns. Brian DeBall worked with the guys like Peyton Hillis and Jamal Charles in the past. And these guys had amazing seasons those years. Go look it up, 2012 and 2010. Jamal Charles, 2012. Peyton Hillis, 2010. Go look up what Brian DeBall as an offensive coordinator did for these running backs. Okay, now he's the head coach of the New York Giants. In comes Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is 2 years removed from his surgery, guys, his big knee surgery. Last year was preserved, and I know I was pissed myself because Booker was coming in, getting more volume than Saquon Barkley. But understand, guys, Saquon Barkley is now in a prime position to succeed. It's a contract year. Improved O-line. He's got Brian DeBall as a head coach who's actually worked with top running backs, helped them recover from knee problems such as Jamal Charles back in 2012 and have great seasons. Now he's going to work with Saquon Barkley, again, in an improved O-line contract year situation, ultra elite talent. And here's the thing, guys, he's a sleeper. Saquon Barkley sleeper because he's coming off as late as the 3rd round, but you have to probably snipe him in the 2nd round if you really want him. And what's fascinating is that he is like 15th on the consensus rankings, and that is continually going up. So Saquon Barkley, you're going to be hearing reports. He looks, I don't know if you guys saw the pictures of him. The guy absolutely looks shredded, right? So he looks good. All signs pointing to a phenomenal year out of Saquon Barkley. I mean, it's a make or break year for him and Daniel Jones, who has to perform at the quarterback position. So to me, I'm looking at him and I'm like, oh my God, DeAndre Swift is ranked ahead of this guy. Swift peaked at like 150 targets last year, 157 rushing attempts, that is. Not good enough, guys. So I look at a guy like Saquon Barkley, I'm like, oh my God, this is a great opportunity here. No committee, contract year, great value. Could be your RB2 with top 3 potential amongst running backs. This guy is amazing. Okay, again, Brian DeBall, improved O-line, contract year, make or break season. This is it for Saquon Barkley. I'm telling you guys, and the mainstream are sleeping on him because he's outside the top 10 on the consensus, which is crazy. He's not in any top 10 lists, which is phenomenal amongst running backs because, again, they're copying and pasting last year, and that's not how you're going to win your leagues. When you're talking fantasy football sleepers, Saquon Barkley is completely being slept on, but look out because ADP is going to start rising as I continue to talk to him in the offseason, all right? Sleeper number 2, and again, I'm going to mix this up here with rookies and other running backs and wide receivers. I got a quarterback in here I'm going to throw here for you. Again, it's just a mix of guys that really jumped out at me as sleepers. Now you're going to say, well, Saquon's not a sleeper. Yes, he is. He's outside the top 5, top 10. Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Swift, and many other guys. Austin Eckler ranked ahead of him. I don't see it, guys. I don't see it yet. You want to draft Christian McCaffrey as a top 2 running back? That's ludicrous, guys. Saquon Barkley's in a better position with more ceiling. I love him, okay? Number 2 here, coming at number 2 as a fantasy football sleeper, I'm going to give you guys Zeke Elliott. Now, Zeke Elliott, again, sitting 17th on the consensus rankings. We're talking about a guy who finished top 10 last year, finished 7th, actually, with 237 attempts, just over 1,000 yards, and 10 rushing touchdowns on the ground. Now, he was dealing with a partially torn PCL, was it? PCL last year. Partially torn. The guy has been as durable as they come throughout his career. Had that nagging injury, annoyed him. Obviously, they got Pollard more involved last year. Now, Pollard, again, he's not the running back 1 here, guys. It is Zeke Elliott, okay? If the Cowboys want to make a run this year, if they want to win, they're going to play their best running back, which is Zeke Elliott. He is the best player on the team, arguably, and a leader in the locker room. So this is a guy that's going to get the work. They're going to be running him. Now, I understand Pollard's going to come in sometimes, right, to give him a breather, going to get him involved in the passing game, stuff like that. But Zeke Elliott is going to get the attempts. Now, you want to note here when you are drafting Zeke, he is going to be great value, but he has actually been declining in rushing attempts through the years while Pollard has been going up. If you look at a chart, it's a downward trend for Zeke Elliott and upward trend for Tony Pollard. Now, that's not actually a bad thing because what goes down must come up, and what goes up must come down. He's been going down, but I think he comes back up this year and swings back up to around 250 attempts, continues with the 10 to 12 touchdowns and about 1,200 rushing yards. Now, this is a guy that, if as part of a robust RB strategy, is your RB3 potentially. Now, I get this question all the time. Do you go Breece Hall? Do you go David Montgomery? Do you go Zeke Elliott in round 3? I answered that in the 16-round draft, so make sure you guys get it below. I'll be going over mock drafts where I'm faced with that scenario in that situation, and I make that decision. But again, ultimately, it comes down to what you guys decide. Not a bad option for all 3 of those guys, all right? But Zeke Elliott, a big-time sleeper, 17th on the consensus, a guy that always finishes top 10. I think he has a bit of a bounce-back year this season, and I'm getting him as an RB3 potentially with massive upside, all right? Coming at number 3 here, another sleeper, big-time sleeper, sitting 21st on the consensus rankings. The guy I'm talking about is rookie Breece Hall, 6'1", 220 pounds. This guy was drafted 36 overall by the New York Jets, and they wanted him. They moved up to get him. They love him. They absolutely love Breece Hall, guys. I'm telling you guys, when I say they love Breece Hall, they love Breece Hall. And I mean, they moved up to get him. And I want to emphasize that to you guys, moved up to get him when they had other positions to address. Meaning they could have got a defensive player, okay? They could have got other people. But they went Breece Hall because they know the upside, they know the talent, they know the opportunity, they know how good he is. They know how good he is. They had Michael Carter, yet they still went Breece Hall. And from what coaching is saying, he is going to be getting the workload. He's going to be getting the volume. He's going to be the guy. He's got a big catch radius, they're saying. They absolutely love Breece Hall. 6'1", 220 pounds. Like I said, beast. College numbers look phenomenal. Was a workhorse in college. 253 attempts, 1,472 yards. That's 1,472 yards on the ground. And you want to top that up with 20 touchdowns on the ground in college, 36 receptions on 302 receiving yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns. Guys, this guy was a workhorse. The year before, 279 attempts, right? He had more rushing attempts in his 2020 year, right? 21 touchdowns that year. That was his best year in college. Now, again, Breece Hall, he is on the Jets. Suspect offense. Be careful. But what I do like is he is a 3rd round pick. I know it doesn't sound like a sleeper right now, but it's a guy that could finish top 10. And I remember, guys, clear as day, I keep receipts, when Le'Veon Bell, when he got traded to the Jets, everybody and their mother, the consensus, the Consheeps, the magazines, I wish I still had that magazine here, he was coming off in the first round, end of first round. He was on the Jets. I'm like, guys, Jets suck. But not only did the Jets suck that year, Bell was not that good. He was a product of the Steelers offense. Yet everyone told you Le'Veon Bell round 1. I'm like, no, Le'Veon Bell sucks. Do not draft Le'Veon Bell. And he busted. Now you get a better running back. Hear me out. You get a better running back. Le'Veon Bell was never good. He was a product of the offense. How do I know that? Because D'Angelo Williams and James Conner did the exact same thing behind that same O-line that year, right? They had Antonio Brown at wide receiver, right? They had a good team, right? So I look at now the Jets, improved O-line, better situation. They've actually got receivers now, right? They've actually got a pretty decent team on paper, so it looks improved O-line around 20-30% better. I just had one of the top influencers, Jet Central, on my show. If you haven't watched the Impact series, guys, click below, watch the Impact series. Better running back. Coach says they love him. They moved up to get him. Great talent. And you don't have to spend the 1st round pick. It's a no-brainer to me. 3rd round value. Breece Hall all day. You're sleeping on him. He has that top 5, top 10 potential based on talent, opportunity. And again, if Michael Carter stays sidelined and they give him the volume, they decide to run the ball more, Breece Hall is going to be the man. I'm telling you guys, 21 on the consensus. I think they're sleeping on him, right? Again, workhorse potential. I know he's on the Jets. I know Michael Carter's there. Those are the only 2 knocks. I know that's kind of a knock to him, but that's what brings him to the 3rd round value, and that could actually work in our favor once we grab him there, right? So Breece Hall, big-time sleeper. Coming at number 4 here, love this guy. Great opportunity. Was super solid last year, and he's now currently sitting 20th on the consensus, on the Consheeps' rankings, and the guy on top was Darnell Mooney. Finished, guys, 23rd last year in PPR amongst wide receivers, 140 targets, 81 receptions, not bad. 1,055 in regards to receiving yards and 4 touchdowns receiving. Now, that doesn't seem spectacular, I understand, but this guy was relatively consistent week in, week out, okay? Now, he is kind of like a 1B. He is the wide receiver 1, but he's not that Jamar Chase caliber. Now, from what we're hearing, there's reports he's saying that he's going to step up. He looks really good. Justin Fields and him off field, really gelling together. They like each other. There's a good connection there. Fields has to make a statement this year. Bears don't really have another wide receiver. I mean, Nagy being gone, I think that really, really takes, Fields off the leash, right? He really gets to take this team behind on his back this year and really start gelling with Darnell Mooney, who I think will be a consistent target. And when you're looking at volume, I think he's really going to get a lot more volume this year. So Darnell Mooney, big time sleeper. You're asking, where do I get him? And again, that really depends and is predicated on how many people are in your league, right? I'm going to say here, if you get him in round 5, you're pretty lucky. I think that's in and around where he's going as early as round 4. Again, I like him ahead of guys like T. Higgins, because again, T. Higgins is clearly the wide receiver too, and he's coming off way ahead of him on the consensus rankings. Guys like Waddle as well. Now, Waddle I'm not crazy about because they've got Tyreek Hill, but there is a chance that Waddle could actually surpass Tyreek. That's a whole other story I want to dive into. But again, besides the fact, right, I like Mooney. I like the volume. I like the targets, potential there coming his way. I like the fact that he's a wide receiver 1. There's no other competition. And, Fields has really got to prove something this year. Great value. You're still getting a wide receiver 1 for value. Absolutely love Darnell Mooney. Big time sleeper this year, sitting 20th on the consensus rankings. Okay. Next one. And I know, guys, this is kind of like a 1-2 punch here. And again, I got to pick one because I said 10, but I'm going to give you a bonus. And there's this big, discussion about this. Let me give you guys number 5 here. Jerry Jeudy's my 5th sleeper, guys. Number 5, Jerry Jeudy really jumps out at me here. But I also want to combo in Sutton because I think they're both being slept on, sitting 21 and 24th on the consensus rankings respectively. I believe it's Judy at 21, Sutton at 24, give or take. These guys keep jumping up and down because the consensus don't even know what's going on. So here's the thing, right? Russell Wilson, I just had the beat writer on for the Broncos. And again, if you haven't watched the Impact Series, I highly recommend you dive into each and every team. I'm getting through every team here, talking to beat writers and influencers that follow that team more than you and I would. Again, when I look at these guys, the beat writer saying Judy's the one. Sutton, I think, could be the one. But again, my initial gut feeling was Judy based on volume. I think, Judy gets that volume, but he has to stay healthy. He hasn't been able to stay healthy throughout the years. But the point I'm trying to make here, guys, is that Metcalf last year under Russell Wilson finished 14th amongst wide receivers. I'm going to pull this up right here. And he had 129 targets, 75 receptions, 12 touchdowns for Metcalf. That could be your Sutton, right? You're going to get those touchdowns. It's going to be a nice red zone target for Russell Wilson. And again, the beat writer is saying Russell Wilson's going to have that resurgence. Exactly what I'm talking about. That's why I love Russell Wilson this year as your anchor quarterback in round 7. You get as your QB1 with upside, right? So again, we saw what Metcalf did at 14th, finishing 14th, right, amongst wide receivers. Then you've got Lockett who finished 16th, right? And he actually had less targets. He had 107, right, compared to 129. But I think it kind of reverses. I think Judy becomes that target guy, especially in PPR, and then Sutton becomes more of a touchdown machine. Again, nobody really knows. All I know is that, bottom line is what I'm trying to say here, is that both Judy and Sutton are immense value, and you can get them a lot later, 5th round and after, instead of spending a 1 to 3rd round pick. And here's what blows my mind here, okay? You got a better quarterback in Russell Wilson, who's actually proven he can get receivers to the top 10, and he's a top 3, top 4 fantasy quarterback when he's going, right? He had a bad year last year, not the greatest, right? And again, sometimes happens when you're stuck in a situation, you want change, you want to get out of there, right? Things get stale, you want that resurgence, right? He's got an office out in Denver now in the stadium. He's set. They love him there, right? So when I look at Judy and Sutton, you got a better quarterback throwing to them, and these guys are sitting 24 and 21. Then you got a guy like Tyreek Hill, who doesn't have that great quarterback, an unproven quarterback, and Tyreek is sitting 7th, and Waddle sitting like 12th to 13th on the ranking. So I'm looking at Judy and Sutton, I'm like thinking, man, big-time sleepers. Now, Judy has not done anything in the NFL, really. He's had like 3 touchdowns in the past 2 seasons. Nothing to get excited about, but he's had a crap load of crappy quarterbacks, right? So now he's got a really good quarterback. So again, I'm looking at Judy as a big-time sleeper. Again, like Mooney, you're getting wide receiver 1, and you don't have to pay that value. And again, so many people are talking about this 0 RB strategy. I can get running backs later. Here's the deal. You can get way more wide receivers later that are wide receiver 1s with massive upside potential, and you load up on the most scarce position early. Go robust RB instead of 0 RB, and you're in a better position. Again, I explained this in the 16-round draft, so if you have not got it, get it. Use code TUBE20, all right? So Jerry Jeudy with a little bit of hint of Sutton there. He's also a sleeper at number 5. Coming at number 6, absolutely love him, out of North Dakota, ran a 4.36, sitting 64th on the consensus rankings. The guy I'm talking about, guys, 6'4", 208 pounds, Christian Watson. Absolutely love him this year, guys. Absolutely love him. Love the value. I can get this guy super late. I can get him in like the 8th round, 9th round. Again, it depends. Your league may spot and sniff this out, right? If they're getting 16 rounds and get him early, be careful. He might get sniped. But I love Christian Watson because he could and should and will be potentially the wide receiver 1. The only knock I have to him is that Aaron Rodgers likes veteran wide receivers and wide receivers he's got that trust with. He doesn't have that with Watson yet. But I will tell you this. There's 169 freed up targets. Let me repeat this. 169 freed up targets. And Watson was the first wide receiver that the Packers picked up off the board that was available to them in the 2nd round. Let me repeat. This is their 3rd pick. And he was the first wide receiver that they chose and handpicked because they know he's a deep threat. They know he's quick off the line. They know that Aaron Rodgers needs that target. And I really genuinely believe that Watson could fill that void. Absolutely love him. Opportunity. Now you're saying, well, Lazard is there and all these other guys and Cobb. Listen, years to wow me. And guess what, guys? I'm not wowed. I absolutely love Watson. I'm going to roll the dice on him as my wide receiver 4 with massive upside. And I'm stashing him. Love him. All right. Christian Watson, big time fantasy football wide receiver sleeper. Let's roll. Number 7, another sleeper here. Let's talk about him. The guy I'm talking about is Drake London. I got some energy here because I'm passionate about these guys. and the mainstream consensus are sleeping on him the same way they slept on guys like Jamar Chase last year and Waddle and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Slept on him. Now I'm spotting and sniffing out these amazing wide receivers for you. Guys, I'm pumped. Drake London comes in at number 7 here. Absolutely love this guy, sitting 39th on the consensus, on the consensus rankings. And I want to tell you something, guys, something very interesting here for you. If Drake London was Calvin Ridley, where would he be ranked? Remember, he's sitting 39th on the consensus. I can get him as early as the 4th he's coming off, but he could probably slip to the 6th round. If he was Calvin Ridley, he'd be coming off in the 2nd round. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. This guy is talent. Go watch his tape. The guy plays with absolute confidence. 6'4", 219 pounds. Total confidence. The guy smiles when he receives the ball. He is a confident player. And I'm telling you guys, he's in a great opportunity to succeed. The only problem is Marcus Mariota. They brought in rookie Desmond Ridder. I don't know. Like, that's the suspect situation, is that offense, right? But obviously they've made some improvements all around. They've got Kyle Pitts there as well. And again, I'm not going to pay a 2nd round pick for Pitts. I'm going to roll the dice and get Drake London a few rounds later for immense value. Big time sleeper. You want to target him. People are sleeping on him. I think the talent is there. The opportunity is there. They have no other wide receiver. You know, this is it. This is the guy. This is the guy. As of right now, the time of this recording, now there is rumors maybe Julio Jones comes back. I don't know. At the time of this recording, all I know is I see gold. I'm looking down a tunnel here, or I see a field, an open field. And I see gold at the end of that tunnel or at the end of that field. And I'm sprinting for that gold that is Drake London for a huge opportunity. I'm all over it. I love the value. I'm drafting Drake London when I can get him as well. Okay, huge value. Coming at number 8 here was a workhorse in Florida, Dameon Pierce, and he's sitting 49th, I think 49th on the consensus rankings amongst running backs. I mean, he's only got to contend with Marlon Mack. Great opportunity here, guys. I'm not going to spend too much time on Dameon Pierce because he is a rookie. His college numbers looked okay. 13 touchdowns on the ground, 19 receptions last year, 574 yards, just over 100 attempts, 3 receiving touchdowns. He had like 16 touchdowns in college last year. And again, if you're looking at a workhorse, no, he's no Breece Hall, but he can and has shown numbers that he can handle that workhorse volume in college. Again, not to the level that Breece Hall did with the 253 attempts, right? But Dameon Pierce in a position here, guys, where, again, the Texans need a running back. Again, Marlon Mack, years to wow me. I'm not wild. Lost his job to Jonathan Taylor. Pierce is, I think, slated. He's a plug and play here at running back. Again, you got a suspect offense. You got Cooks as your wide receiver 1 pretty much. You got Davis Mills, who's, again, I'm not really sold on him. But you got a guy who could get the volume, get the opportunity, and has that youth and hunger that could really thrive and can be your RB4 on your team, guys. You get him later as an RB4 with RB1 potential, guys. That's what I'm saying here. Dameon Pierce, 49th on the consensus, on the consensus rankings. Big time sleeper. All right, let's roll into a quarterback, and we'll end it off with another running back here. Guys, if you are not subscribed yet, make sure you click that subscribe button. If this is resonating with you and is making sense, I don't draft based on rankings. I don't draft on consensus. I don't draft on sheep mentality. And that's why 16 rounds is the game changer. So make sure you guys get it. Tube 20 below. Subscribe if you are not. Thumbs up. And again, drop that sleeper below. This is outside of the box thinking to help you guys crush your leagues. Let's keep rolling here. Number 9 here, got Matt Ryan sitting 20th on the consensus rankings here. Guys, I'm going to make this guys very simple for you. Matt Ryan is still a good player. Just had Tori on. She's the beat writer for Atlanta. If you have not checked the Impact Series for the 10th time today, link below. Watch those videos because they are in depth. They're going to teach you guys stuff that you might not know about a team that's going to give you that edge in fantasy, all right? Tori was on. I mean, she is a beat writer for the Falcons. And again, she goes, Matt Ryan didn't miss a step. It was obviously the offense that had some issues. They worked on those. Matt Ryan now in a home with the Colts. And again, I had the Colts beat writer on. Go check out that episode. They believe in Matt Ryan. Accuracy looks phenomenal. They've got Pittman. They brought in Alec Pierce, who, by the way, I left out of here, is a big-time sleeper. There you go, a bonus. But make sure you guys subscribe because I'll be doing a deeper sleeper one, okay? So Matt Ryan here, again, he's got Alec Pierce. He's got Pittman. He's got one of the best O-lines in the game. He's got Jonathan Taylor. And he's going to get a resurgence in his career similar to Russell Wilson. Matt Ryan could finish top 5 amongst quarterbacks. Where he lacks, though, is the yards on the feet, which is the rushing touchdowns and the rushing yards, which, again, in this league now, there's so many good guys that could finish ahead of him. So it's not the lack that he can't finish top 5. It's just that other guys are going to finish ahead of him, pushing him down. But I think he'll still put up solid numbers. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say is this guy could finish top 5 if there wasn't so many good quarterbacks like Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, all these guys that are using their feet. Right? Matt Ryan could easily finish top 5. But again, there's just so much talent here at quarterback that are, those spots in top 5 are pretty much locked in with those good quarterbacks, right? Including Russell Wilson could finish top 5 as well. Matt Ryan could easily finish top 10 either way. Lots of touchdowns this year and lots of yardage from Matt Ryan. Love the opportunity. He's going to have more time to do what he does best, is throw the ball out of the pocket. Love Matt Ryan. Super excited, big time sleeper. Get him as a backup quarterback with massive upside. And the last one here, I love him, guys. Texas A&M running back was a pretty good. Let's talk about it. Isaiah Spiller's the guy. Guys, 48th on the consensus rankings. Another deeper sleeper here. Again, Austin Eckler had a pinnacle year. Go look at Austin Eckler's numbers. Okay, Spiller, by the way, is on the Chargers. Austin Eckler had a pinnacle year last year. 12 rushing touchdowns on the ground. Like, what do you have? Like 8 receiving. I don't have his stats in front of me. Let me pull them up. But here's the deal with Eckler. Pinnacle year. Okay, I'm going to pull this up here. 12 touchdowns on the ground. All right, he has never had that. Like, check this out. 2017, 18, 19, 20. 4 years, Austin Eckler, okay, had a combined 9 touchdowns in 4 years. What he did in 1 year, he couldn't do in the first 4 years of his career. So what I'm saying is Spiller is going to come in and get that goal line work. They tried it with Larry Roundtree. Couldn't do it, right? He wasn't the guy. Spiller has that potential to be that violent runner and be a goal line threat just for the sheer preservation of Austin Eckler. Again, I like Isaiah Spiller. He's a sleeper. I'm stashing him. I'm fading Eckler round 1, getting a real running back like a Najee Harris, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, someone like that. And I'm going to get myself a Spiller later and look for him to take that RB1 job potentially. Why not? It's a risk, but hey, Eckler was just never that phenomenal. He had a good year last year, but he's never a big attempts guy. Last year had his pinnacle year, 206 attempts. He doesn't see that, guys. In his entire career, he didn't see that. He peaked at 132 attempts in 2019. That was as close to what he got to last year. Pinnacle year, he was an anomaly year for Eckler. I like the guy. I think he's super nice. But Isaiah Spiller, again, he's my sleeper here, number 10. I'm stashing him, hoping for a breakout and all that goal line work that I can get out of Spiller. Could be a solid flex play or a good backup running back in case one of my guys goes down. Knock on wood, hopefully not, because I'm drafting the guys that I'm set will be good at running back, all right? Always have depth at that running back position. And again, one argument I always hear is like, okay, they always say I'm going to go 0 RB, get my running backs later. So your RB1 ends up being some sort of bottom feeder, like, man, I can't even say, not even bottom feeder, but just an average guy like James Conner or someone like that, or, someone who's just like a mid-tier guy. And it's like, James Conner, Elijah Mitchell, they can have good years, right? But if they go down, now you've got no depth. Now you're looking at, James White's as your like backups, right? That's why you got to load up top heavy on running backs, get those guys with, the guaranteed volume, and then you can get your tons of wide receivers. I gave you a list right here, guys, later. More depth at wide receiver than there is at running back. All right, guys, those are your top 10 fantasy football sleepers 2022. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Thumbs up. I appreciate you guys being here. And get that 16-round draft solution, all right? I'm going to keep ripping the content out here as we get close to the season. Going to help you guys crush your leagues this year. Let's get it. We'll talk soon. Subscribe. I'm out.